What's going on, everybody? You reach another edition of the NRW Checkpoint. Of course, I'm your man, WebsterStyle, the man, the voice of fragrance, and I'm always joined by Brian Sapph. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, sir. It's a lot of gaming, not just news, but a lot of games have come out this week. A lot of high-profile games, some indie games have been talked about. Let's jump right into it. First up is Midnight Fight Express, and that's coming out on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Of course, with your PS4 and your Xbox One, it's going to be backwards compatible with the current gen systems. This is an action game. In this game, you fight your way across the city in a brutal romp that mixes old school brawlers and fast-paced motion capture combat. I believe we're looking at the trailer later on, but it is also coming out on Xbox Game Pass on day one. So I'm definitely downloading that bad boy. That definitely looks like something I'm going to play a lot of.
Let me check out the trailer and we'll see.
You know, madcap action. It kind of reminds me of Mommy Hotline, but not like overhead, kind of like the 3.5 ISO sort of feel to it, over the shoulder, but not quite, but still slightly above. So you see everything. So it's an interesting perspective, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now, Brian, have you ever played any of the Saints Row games?
Saints Row, I played a demo or two, and I've not gotten into like the full body of the game.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Me either, even though I have a couple in my game library from Xbox Live Gold over the years. All I know is about Saints Row, at least the original version, is that it was probably the best of the GTA knockoffs.
Yeah.
And at one point, you can play with a giant sex toy as a weapon. That's like the only things I really know about this game. And of course, the last one, a lot of people talked about for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So they are now rebooted the game. This is a game that was pushed back, I think 2 or 3 times. I think it was supposed to come out early in the year, but they pushed it out till now, and it's out this week, and it's out for the PS4, 5, Xbox One, SX, and PC. As you can imagine, there's no Switch version of this game, which is understandable. So in this reboot, it takes place in the fictional city of Santo Ileso in the American Southwest, and follows a new gang simply titled the Saints as they attempt to take control of the city from the different gangs ruling it. Again, it sounds like a similar format, but from what I understand, they took out a lot of the zaniness that really defined a lot of the later games in the original, I think there were 4 games, so quadrilogy.
Yeah, something like that.
So they tried to bring it back down to a bit more of a realistic with regards to the gameplay and scenario. So it's interesting. Not necessarily a genre I am very well versed or attracted to, but the game looks okay. We'll be looking at some of the gameplay later, though.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it fares with the fans, because that's something I did appreciate about Saints Row, that whole aspect of like partnering with certain gangs or whatever. It was you said like a GTA knockoff, kind of. Yeah, the San Andreas franchise that had gang wars or turf wars in them and stuff. They kind of made a full game out of with the Saints Row thing, but I enjoyed the aspect. But the other things in there that what you could do are also dope. So I'm interested to see, based now that they've kind of like stripped it down, like how the fans take to it.
That's a good point you bring up, because even though Saints Row may have not been the big franchise like a GTA, it still had a very loyal fan base. It got 4 games. I mean, that says a whole lot right there. You don't get 4 games within really a generation, because I think all of the games came out within like that PS3, Xbox 360 era. I think maybe one of the last ones may have been last gen only. I'm not entirely sure at the moment, but it's one of those things that they had a pretty good fan base. And it'd be interesting to see how the previous fan base really flocks to, or disregards this reboot.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Well, we'll definitely be looking at it a little bit later. Next up, we're not going to talk too much about this one. This is F1 Manager 2022. Now, we looked at F1 a while ago. That was the racing game. This is a full simulation of you pretty much running an F1 team and stuff. There's not too much really to say about that. So if you want to get behind the scenes in the boardrooms and managing the people and the pit crew and the licenses and sponsorships only, this is the game for you.
Yeah. If you want to simulate being a sports car owner.
Exactly. Now, Brian, are you into anime? I probably don't answer this, but yes. Okay. Yes. Did you ever get into Gundam?
I did. Okay. Quite a bit of the different franchises with Gundam I'm a fan of. So yeah.
Okay. So Gundam's the one series I never got into, and it's really, like, Gundam's been around since I was born, if I remember correctly. So there are a lot of different series, and I was really into Toonami when everybody got into Gundam Wing.
Yes.
Never, I don't know, and I love mechs, but I never got into Gundam as a whole, just the whole franchise. Never got into Gundam. So for me personally, I get the appeal, but I'm not into the lore. So I will say when I say a Gundam game, there's nothing that really calls out to me. However, we do have a new Gundam game that's SD Gundam Battle Alliance, and that's for the PS4, 5, Xbox One, SX, Switch, and PC. And this is an RPG, so it looks like an action RPG game.
Okay.
So in this, it allows the player to battle as the super deformed versions of the mobile suits from the Gundam series. The story takes place in the G universe, a world where Gundam canon twists and turns in ways no one can predict. So we're definitely looking at that. That looks pretty cool as far as an action RPG is concerned. And regardless if you're into Gundam or not,
right,
it's battling mechs. Even though they're super deformed, they're still mechs. So
right,
how bad can it be?
This might be the Gundam game we kind of all been waiting for.
Yeah, it might be.
Based on
it's weird, those vaunted anime properties, especially the mecha ones, always seem to have a hit or miss sort of history when it comes to video game adaptations.
Yeah, because we understand just as consumers, like, you're supposed to be basing this game based off of this mech series or whatever. It's not much you can do with machinery at this point. Like, sci-fi is taking things to a place where everything has been done. So it kind of has to be story driven when it comes to mech games. Like, the story has to be captivating.
Right.
And Gundam, this is a OG in the mecha space or whatever.
Right.
I don't know how many different franchises and spinoffs like the Gundam title has to itself, but it got to be like over 10.
Yeah, there are lots. I watched a history on it, I don't know, a couple months ago, just interested, watched it, and there are just so many different Gundam series. Some are in a certain canon, some are in their own universe by themselves. It's, if you're following canon, it can be very twisted. But of course, when you have a series, I think it's the first Gundam came out in like 79, if I remember correctly. So
it's been a while.
Like you're talking about 40 plus years of history of a cartoon series, anime series. Don't come at me. Of an anime series, it's one that obviously you're gonna have to try to do new things, reinvent it. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this game, this SD Gundam Battle Alliance, really shapes out. I hope it's one for the fans. It looks like it's definitely one for the fans based on what I've seen so far.
Especially since there was another mech game we talked about coming out or earlier in the year. Is this the same one?
No, it's not the same. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember it off the top of my head though.
Okay. Well, I'm rooting for Gundam because
Me
even
too.
the other ones, their fighting games have been good. So yeah.
Right. I've heard good things about the fighting game, but fighting games are fighting games. As long as the mechanics are pretty good, you can pretty much slot any character you want in there. And no disrespect to fighting games, but we have a tried and true formula when it comes to fighting games nowadays.
Right.
So next up is another property that's been around forever. And I mean forever. This property is one that really, we would not have video games realistically if this property hadn't caught fire when it did.
I was just about to say.
Pac-Man World Re-Pac. So this is for the PS4 and 5, Xbox One, SX, Switch, and PC. I will say this, Pac-Man's been getting a lot of love lately. We just had the Pac-Man Museum Plus a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago. Last year we had the other Pac-Man game that came out. This is before we started doing NRW Checkpoint, but we had that. I mean, Pac-Man's getting a lot of love lately, and this is a remaster of the 1999 adventure where Pac-Man is tasked with rescuing his family. So basically in Pac-World, Pac-Man arrives home on his birthday to find that the ghosts have kidnapped Pac-Man's family and friends and ruined his party. Those ghosts are dastardly, man. How you gonna ruin a man's party like that?
Come on,
what do you do to y'all?
Damn. Came home on the day of birth.
Right.
Kids and wife gone. The ghosts up here eating all the cake. Like, this is not it.
Nah. So obviously, you know, Pac-Man goes to open a can of proverbial whoop ass on the ghost and get his family and friends back. You know, get some power pellets in y'all. He's gonna eat your ass, literally. So that's a platforming game, and that's out on pretty much everything. Of course, it's on the Switch.
Better be.
So last but not least for our major new releases this week is Soul Hackers 2, and this is a RPG from Atlas. A company that Brian knows all too well on the PS4 and 5, Xbox One, S and X, and the PC. Atlas is really giving some Xbox love after the announcement of the Persona series coming to Xbox, I tell you.
Yeah, and which is good, man. Like Atlas, they make good games. They need to spread their wings.
So in Soul Hackers 2, it's a turn-based RPG that features a battle system derived from the press turn system featured in the Shinigami Tensei games. The battle involves a party of 4 characters and the element affinities present in other Tenesami Tensei games.
Okay.
So, you know, it's reminiscent of that. So, you know. So it's an RPG from Atlas. How can you know?
Right. They can't mess it up.
Right. I mean, exactly.
Can't mess it up. Turn-based.
Yep. That's their bread and butter.
Yeah. I need to see the trailer too. So I'm glad that's up.
Yeah, we are watching trailer. So let's get into our first trailer for the Super Deformed Gundam Battle Alliance. If something tells me these Super Deformed Gundam aren't that cute.
You know what? I just realized that's what SD means. But look at this.
I mean, that's really good. All right, this is great.
Right, made it look like Lego. Yeah. The battle mechanics look good.
Something tell me this is more action with like RPG elements than action RPG. Why do I gotta have a little like music? I mean, this looks pretty cool. I will not lie about that.
Yeah, it does.
Like you could have a pretty good assortment of Gundam you could play with.
What?
I will say this: the backgrounds are pretty barren for the most part.
Yeah.
I guess if you're trying to stimulate the even though it's super deformed, larger than life, everything you can figure around.
This is
definitely a wide assortment of Gundam to play with, right? Yeah, the worlds are still barren to me. I don't know, it kind of takes me out of the game though. tell you this. You definitely put a lot of effort into each one of them. Each one looking unique. And again, I know there are a lot of different Gundams from 40 plus years of history of the series, but you know, a lot of these companies, they get a license, and a lot of times they just half-ass it. It looks like this team put a lot of heart and soul into this game.
Okay.
I'm still not a fan of the backgrounds. So I just feel, for me, the backgrounds in a lot of the worlds, it's bland and blah, and it takes me out of it. It's like, okay, I know you're looking at the battle, and you're looking at, and again, I know a lot of RPGs are really, this is indicative of a lot of RPGs, but it just, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, this as far as the environments are concerned, it's not, the best.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing, because this is a Gundam game, Japanese, at its core, essentially, they tend to do their fighting games like this a lot. Like this battle system reminds me a lot of what I would see with Connect 2 and how they do things with the Naruto franchises or Naruto Ninja Storm stuff. But I don't know. It looks interesting enough. Personally, right? I don't have any issue with the game itself. It looks like it's a fun game. I just don't like the style of it.
Okay, the super deformed style.
Yeah, I don't, something about when people make things little like that and then try to make it look big or scaled next to other things as well. And then the characters, they kind of look like something I would see like on Lego Batman or something. Like it just, I don't know. I don't mind the game.
I totally get it though. I think they probably made that decision to make the gameplay a bit faster, because I don't think they would have gotten that sort of frame rate and that sort of speed in the combat if they used like regular size Gundam.
True.
Well, but it would have been a much different game if they'd done that.
I would like for it to be regular size though.
All right, let's go from an action RPG to a traditional turn-based in the form of Soul Hackers.
The Hacker of Souls.
We don't have to fight. Can't you see that the Phantom Society is wrong?
But if you're not believing in something to the fullest,
something's always up.
Are you even really living? So we have to fight.
Like the art
This is about who we are.
Hey, Ash. You okay?
I saw you die! Why? You said you wouldn't kill him!
I can't just give up on her. Not after I got to come back. Now that I found her again.
I must say I'd expected better of you, Melody.
The moments where I loved you, I'll make sure they never fade away.
You've been quite a persistent thorn in my side.
Every word out of his mouth, every breath he takes is another reason he needs to die.
No matter what miracles you work, no matter how hard you try, I am always one step ahead. You can't stop me. You can't change fate.
Okay.
All right, I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
That definitely gets me interested.
Yeah, this trailer looked like it had a good story going on there. I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Right. And one thing about Atlas, when you see these trailers, you know the in-game art is going to look pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
So there's no deception there. So, all right.
I wonder if that's if this is like what the gameplay of the mechanics look like.
But if it's turn-based, similar to Semigami Tension, I guess if you're familiar with that one, you're gonna be familiar with how this works.
Okay, that
it's
might
based
be
on the
cool.
description.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to some fighting in Midnight Fight Express.
Yeah, Express, because the other one was taking too long.
There's a one-man developer.
You know the saying, get knocked down, get up again, that whole spiel. Well, it's time, partner. Time to rise up. Together.
Oh yeah, I was totally playing this.
Yeah, this looks interesting. I don't play too much for a season.
It's happening. The big guy's actually going through with it.
Overhead
While I
camera
sat at
angles
his
like
side, seeing lives as dollar signs, I had the stink of corruption all over me. And you know who put it there? Nah, not him. Me. Well, I ain't wearing it anymore, and neither are you. Tonight, we wash this whole damn city down.
Oh, co-writer Destiny 2, Stuntman of God of War. I mean, if this is music from the game, this sounds great. Oh, I'm so digging this game. Wait a minute.
That look good.
That's the day. Oh, I'll be downloading. I'll be downloading that today.
Yeah, it's available now, guys.
Well, I don't know. Not Xbox. Game Pass, sometimes it's like it doesn't really, even though it says the 23rd, is something about Pacific time. So it may be available now, but things don't really refresh on my end as far as Game Pass is concerned until like 12:30 p.m. of that day. So
makes sense.
All right. So I'll be talking about that next week to give you my impressions, definitely.
Good, because it looks interesting. Like a really cool
definitely.
fighting game.
All right. And last is revisiting, well, an old friend for some, a new friend for others. Or in this case, a new friend for everyone, some an old friend with a glossy new coat of paint. But let's go to Saints Row.
I know what it looks like. A brilliant plan gone off the fucking rails. You think it's some pendejo messed up, and now all these poor bastardos gonna choke on an all-you-can-eat buffet of bullet tacos.
I think a lot of this is
well, I promise you, everything will work out exactly the way it's supposed to. Just keep your eyes and ears open. The next few minutos could mean the difference between becoming Santo Ileso's numero uno crime boss or just another notch in some punk's stolen gun belt. So how does an up-and-coming gun-for-hire like you wind up in a hot mess like this? Let's rewind. You might not know it yet, but you and your friends are about to found an institution, the Saints. And if you want to be your own boss, you're gonna need to bust some heads.
Alien mask?
First step in the journey is launching a startup. I mean the fun kind. Illegal, criminal, and not exactly on the up and up. And it all happens here, in the southwestern paradise of Santo Ileso.
Try to keep up this time.
There's nothing about this quartet
This
that
dusty
seems
jewel is a
menacing,
hotspot
violent,
for
or
striking
scary.
a reach from
Take
the
back
glittering
territory
high
from
rises of
anybody.
Lakeshore right down to the dusty streets of Mercado and across the sprawling desert that guards our city like the angel of death. It's the ultimate sinner's playground, ripe with opportunity to make a quick buck. But nothing comes for free here. Meet the factions. In this corner, you've got Los Panteros, Sergio's gang. They run a smuggling enterprise out of the Mercado and Barrio districts. They'll have no hesitations about getting up in your business, so watch your back around them. In the other corner, the idols. Now, these gatos are even more loco. I mean, just look at how they're dressed. These kids take homicidal anarchy to the EDM club. They don't even have a leader, just some faceless group known as the Collective. They won't be stingy about investing in ammo, so be hot when you cross paths. And guess what? There's always another corner. Atticus and his marshals take privatized defense technology to some seriously offensive levels. Capture and control is their motto. You wanna try your human luck against their advanced assets? Oh, you can. Just don't underestimate him. Anyway, I don't have to tell you this. Ain't they your former employers? Way out in the desert, there is another wild bunch you might cross cacti with. All I'll say is if you do, bring your duct tape and cardboard. So you came to Santo Ileso with a head full of dreams and a drive to hustle. You got the skills to make the kills, but you're not alone. Eli will be your strategic business associate. Count on him to invest the profits from all that blood, sweat, and lead into your startup. And in case you're ever looking for gift ideas, he's got this thing for pump shorties. When you need a fast getaway from trouble, Nina's right around the corner. She's not burning past cops. She's in the garage making sure the gang's whips are street illegal. And remember to enjoy the good times while you're out there hustling. Your shirt-hating roommate Kev is there for you. He's a combination DJ, chef, and all-around thrill junkie. But watch your back, Saints. They call this wild card the Nawali. Word on the street is this hitman has an eye on Santo Ileso too.
You really think you have what it takes to bring me in?
Holy shit!
Every kingdom needs a castle, right? Before long, you'll be living large on 3rd Street in your Saints HQ. This is where you'll run all your major operations. You'll find it stocked with every amenity you'll need to expand your criminal empire.
I don't know where this is going, but it sounds like my kind of stupid.
We all have a story, and while I can't predict everything that will happen in yours, I do know that you are destined.
All right. Yeah, I will say this much. As far as getting a basic understanding of the game, I got a lot from the different factions and whatnot. There is something, I understand they're trying to do something different.
Right.
There's nothing about the group that you're playing as that says, hey, we can form a gang and take over this town from the crazies, some that are genetically enhanced, some look like they just stepped out of a Mad Max movie, and the other ones look like the Latin gang from LA on steroids. Yeah. Again, it is a video game. I have to remember that. But if the goal of the developer is to reinvent the series and to make it a bit more realistic and grounded, they failed automatically based on that trailer.
You think so?
And maybe again, I'm looking at it more so from if GTA is a standard, that is real and as grounded as you're going to get as far as that sort of open world crime game. If they're trying to go more toward that, then nah. That's not going to do it. I think one of the things about Saints Row, the charm about Saints Row, is because it took that formula and made it zany. And with this, it's very much they kept some of the uniqueness, like the different gangs and everything, especially the ones that like in the Marshmallow, and I forget the other DJ, so it was aping off of them as far as what their style is and everything.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's very modern. That's very trendy. But if you're looking to make it more realistic, that's not realistic.
I can see what you're saying.
At least that's my opinion.
It
looks interesting. It looks overall like an interesting game, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how old fans are going to flock to this, though.
Yeah, and see, I guess the fact that I'm not necessarily an old fan, like I've always been aware of the Saints Row like franchise and everything like that. The games look great. I just never really got a chance to like dive into them that much. But I don't know. I'm interested in this, but I feel like the reason I'm more interested in this is because it kind of is reminiscent to like Watch Dogs. I don't know if you ever played those series before.
I remember, yeah.
But that one is kind of the same way, where it's like not so much GTA and a little bit more focused on like the story of the characters and trying to, I don't know, come together as this oddly formed group and
I understand
on
that
these people. So I don't know. I would be interested in giving it a try. It looks like it has the story that I'm looking for in this kind of game.
Yeah,
I agree with you though. The initial like the gang or whatever, they don't necessarily stand out when they're compared to like the gang issues of the Mad Max looking gang and the techno kids and stuff like that. They don't necessarily stand out, but I feel like that's a part of the uniqueness of them as well. It's like, because they're talking about, oh, you're stealing the money from these people or whatever, and you're trying to start up a nonprofit or a
startup,
a startup company. So I don't know, there's elements that I'm intrigued about.
I like it. I like a lot of things that I saw. I think a lot of my questions are coming from the fact that it's Saints Row.
Yeah.
And what we know of that franchise to be and what they're trying to do with it now. Would people have a better reception of it if it wasn't called Saints Row is the question. And maybe that's where my mind is really going. It's hard for me to take it as what it is because it's a reboot of something that, even if I'm not that familiar with it, it's an established property. As a gamer, I know has been around for a while and has certain things that define that franchise that are now not present.
Yeah. I think what they were trying to do, or what they're trying to do, is like create I don't know what the word is, but create something else that's in the same universe, but not necessarily the same story. Because you think
Right.
about the original Saints Row franchise, it's kind of the same thing. They're following a group of bandits. It's just that those people didn't change throughout the series. It's kind of the same main characters. I think this one they trying to kind of start the story over, but not necessarily change anything. Just like say, okay, we did one gang and we gave them 4 games or however many games that original franchise has. Now let's look at this gang and push them in a different direction. It is also kind of giving me like a vibe that this set in a different time period as well.
Oh yeah, I
Saints
feel
Row,
like it's something totally different. I don't have a problem with that per se.
Yeah.
Just it's still Saints Row. There are things I expect from Saints Row, and
Mhm.
those are things they're trying to move away from.
yeah,
That's all.
it looks cool though. I would give it a try.
Right. I agree. I was definitely. I think there's a lot there that I
Mhm.
would be interested in trying it out.
Definitely, I'm interested in the story now. That's one thing. The
Story
trailer
more than
did.
anything.
Yeah, the trailer did make it very clear that there's a very good story happening there in the game. So
Right.
I'm interested in that.
So Brian, what's coming up with you this week?
Not much. Another episode. I haven't done it yet, but it will be here. And then Checkpoint with you talking about Saints Row and all the other games that are like doing different things.
Awesome. Well, of course, I have the Sartorian Geek Podcast WebsterStyle coming out. Episode 124 should be out probably Saturday morning. At least based on this recording, talking about again, we just talked about earlier Midnight Fight Express, because I'll be playing that bad boy. Also talking about She-Hulk episode 2, as well as talking about some of the recent blockbuster movies that are finding their way to streaming very quickly, as well as the return of Johnny Wrestling.
It'll be an interesting episode.
So yeah, it's going to be fun to record it whenever I get to it. But of course, you are with Nerds Rule the World. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the NRW, on Instagram at New Release Wednesday, and of course, you're currently on YouTube, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Peace.